a horrible woman and I make content for other horrible women, and one of my favourite things about the internet is when men attempt to play Heartless Monster Chicken with you. Heartless Monster Chicken is a game that men like to play when they want to derail conversations about men's violence against women and make it all about themselves by using the threat of being seen as horrible, mean, bad, unempathetic women in order to manipulate the women in the conversation into allowing them to derail it. This most often takes the form of simple whataboutism, or what about women's violence against men, and sometimes you will see men who may or may not have genuinely experienced violence at the hands of women, weaponizing that in order to manipulate the women in the conversation into once again allowing them to derail it. This is a rhetorical strategy that generally involves forcing a woman into a position where she has to choose from one of two options. The first of these options is to bend to the will of these men attempting to derail the conversation by assuring everybody present that we are empathetic to the plight of the male victims who have now been centered in the conversation, thereby forcing us as women into a position where we are both attempting to appease these men and appeal to them for permission to continue the original conversation, permission which is almost never granted. The second option is to respond in literally any way other than that, thereby confirming the implication these men are making that you are in fact a heartless monster, a serious blow to the credibility and social standing of any woman. The talking points deployed by these men to instigate a game of Heartless Monster Chicken will change from time to time. Most recently, the approach that seems to be in vogue is derailing conversations about men's violence against women with the question, what should I do if my girlfriend hits me? Not to toot my own horn, but I am very practiced at Heartless Monster Chicken, and it does get a lot easier when you recognize that these men, whether they are or are not in fact genuinely victims of this kind of violence, are still attempting to exploit women's compassion in order to dominate and silence us. Being seen as a heartless monster becomes a lot more palatable when you recognize that even if these men are in fact genuine victims, they aren't really showing a lot of compassion for female victims when they derail their conversations by demanding compassion from them. A woman may lose the game of Heartless Monster Chicken by responding to a man's question of what should I do when my girlfriend hits me by expressing compassion for that man and being derailed into a conversation that centers male victimhood, while a slightly more cynical woman may recognize it for the manipulation that it is and attempt to call it out while still adding the caveat that yes, of course, male victims matter too. A horrible heartless monster woman, however, may respond to the question with the advice that the man say thank you and apologize for getting whiny, impotent man baby all over her beautiful hands. I hope this has been educational and that it will assist you in becoming better at Heartless Monster Chicken. If you're a horrible, mean, bad woman or someone vaguely adjacent or someone who's hoping to get there, head on over to my page where you'll find lots of useful information that's going to help you become the worst, most heartless version of yourself.